What is up, y'all? Second channel things. We're back. Um, Today I wanted to talk about needing people, um, and the tribulations that come with it, I suppose. Um, some of us may want people, some of us may desire people, and some of us might really like have to have them or they like explode. Um, I am in that have to have category, right? If I don't if I don't get if I don't get enough validation or like interpersonal attention, it's kind of over for me, right? Like I'm definitely going to like my lowest lows and like curling up in a ball and dying. So it's not really something I can avoid. Some people can feel comfortable with themselves and move on, and it's not that I can't feel comfortable with myself. It's the fulfillment I get from interacting with people that see me as more than I see myself is a very tantalizing thing. I think there's something also to be said for people who are willing to idolize you, like people who are um, more of like people pleasers or um, have like abandonment issues or like commitment issues or something like that. Like those type of people um, are going to idolize someone who is more, has more narcissistic tendencies, has more like sociopathic tendencies, is more like decisive, for better or for worse. Those things are going to look very appealing um, to somebody in that case. The only thing is, although there is a need to not be alone, um, it's very important that you are careful with who you share your space with. Because at the end of the day, like the world is basically swirling chaos, right? Good things are going to happen to bad people, bad things are going to happen to good people. Everything is going to be random, and any day now we could just all pass in car accidents, statistically likely, and that's just life. The one of the few things that we have available to us is like our own space. We save, we work, we pay our taxes, we stay out of prison, and all of these things lead to us having our own garden, you know, almost like biblically, like our verdant jungle of stuff we give a shit about, you know? And whether that's like a really nice area where you keep your Christmas lights on 365 days out of the year, or if that's more depression posting with all of my blankets and pillows being on the couch and my 5 bottles of vodka leaned up against a skull mask on my desk. Um, the way you feng shui your garden is going to be really crucial to how you manage to survive every day. Um, a lot of stuff is awful out there. I suppose for me, every time I venture out, I generally enjoy it. I don't live life with a lot of regrets, but um, it's all visiting. It's all touring, right? My real home, my place where I belong, is back here. And I come here and I lay down, I work, I enjoy whatever I want to, and those are my days. Then, so when you have your own lush garden of, your shelter in the storm, bringing people who are idolizing you, but also kind of mentally unstable, into your garden is beyond dangerous. It's it's honestly I'm mentally ill, right? I got it. Um, and I suppose other people who are listening to this, you probably couldn't relate too much if you were a very normal person. Unfortunately, perhaps I should expand the potential reach. Anyway, bringing in people who um, you can bring in somebody who is like a people pleaser or perhaps has some kind of mental illness. You can do that. But what you're doing, the sacrifice that you bring in, probably people pleaser, I mean, they come in a lot of different flavors. So, but the things that you sacrifice are the things that protect you from like a stressful day. So if you allow anybody in your life that is going to give you more stress, you're setting yourself up for failure. Uh, this is especially true for people who are not very like gentle or kind. Um, there are people who aren't very gentle who are awesome people, and they're nice to hang out with, they're nice to spend time with, they're fun, they're attractive, and it might be fulfilling to be with them. But those type of people, they stress me out. I don't mesh well with them. For me, I'm just trying to have somebody in the crib that's going to be like nice to me and eat my food and say nice things. I'm not really looking for like a ton of hand on hand combat when it comes to hanging out with other people. And if you are, if you've been through quite a lot, it might be easy to look at people who are more combative and think, okay, like the passion is here. Like I know for sure this person cares, because to some extent I understand that too. I talk big game, like, oh, like, I'm looking for this or I'm looking for that. But I mean, if just the right flavor of crazy like drops in my lap, it's gonna take a lot for me to keep myself from that. Um, Something you guys should look out for, I think. The desire to not be alone um, should generally, it can be attended. It's something you can look at with more like short-term things, but you should definitely keep your boundaries up. For me, I have a lot of issues with boundaries, but for me, it's also not a desire. For me, it's a need. So if you just desire it, you can afford to be careful. But if it's a need, just look for people that are nice, I would say. If you need to have that type of validation, think of, okay, these are going to be cycles of my life where things are going to explode repeatedly in front of me. How do I stop these from exploding? And if the cycle ends, who would I be comfortable with being with? Because these cycles are just, I mean, it's a bundle of dynamite repeatedly every single time you step out. Because if you're an intelligent person, I consider myself decently intelligent. Sometimes I will miss things, right? I'm not like a perfect human being. So sometimes somebody's going to be way less healthy than they appear like on onset, regardless of the thousands of people that I've met and talked to interpersonally. I can mess up all the time. So you're always running a percentage chance of, is this person going to light their fuse immediately when there starts to be an issue? So things I would generally, select for is like, you need to not be alone. Okay. We're looking for people who are more gentle. We're looking for people with decent life experience, not too much. Too much life experience might leave somebody jaded. They might see things in you that they've seen in other people, and that might trigger them. And somebody who could be completely pleasant gets upset and triggered, and that is, that's something that you pay the price for. And to some extent, I know some people are thinking, well, they're just words, or you can't just give anybody that much power or stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when we talk about needing to not be alone or desiring to not be alone, it has nothing to do with like just sitting in the same room as someone, boundaries up, right? It's about the vulnerability and honesty that you give to another person. And to some extent, like with everybody you engage with, you're a more manipulative person. I suppose you'll find this out later, perhaps the hard way. um, but like brutal, like honesty and almost aggressive vulnerability is one of the few ways you can guarantee intimacy with basically anybody. And you can move forward and satiate that need. um, if the energy of like raw humanity and struggle was like a second stomach, um, the only way to feed it would be to either do something completely unsustainable, with just being like wild and manipulative out there, or feeding people that you introduce yourself to as honestly as humanly possible. You have a conversation, you see where it goes, you get a feel for it, and then you decide whether or not to bring them back into your garden. um, some of us don't want to be alone, and some of us can't be alone. See you around. Maybe.